it's okay because, oh well, they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't say that. Like everybody has rights. Everybody, like, we can't have leaders that say this or do that because that's offensive. That's encouraging and making offense okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I felt like you both were looking at me crazy. I was like, am I
No,
talking
I'm
gibberish?
thinking as you're talking.
And
That's
I
how we
just
look. Don't be offended. Have some emotional intelligence.
I'm not offended, but I think that so then everyone, including leaders, they start to get offended easily, and they act defensively. And what's a huge defense mechanism that people use is putting up a wall and just drowning you out. Well, you said this, okay, you're not going to be in my life. Like, oh, well, I don't want to hear from you. Instead of actually taking constructive criticism and learning and growing and being better for it, or taking that criticism and being like, oh, you know what? Like, I see your perspective, but I actually disagree. And then moving on. And that's okay too.
Yeah.
But instead they get offended. And so then they shut you out for 21 days.
Yeah, it's weird. Now I think about even yesterday, I got into an argument with somebody, and it was a biblical argument. We were debating schematics.
Okay.
And I was trying to prove my point, and he was proving his point. And you know how I get when I get into debates. My voice gets loud, and I'm like talking with my hands. I'm like, no, because you
get very passionate.
I'm passionate. And so then at the end of it, it was a Bible study. So at the end of it, I am. I said a prayer, but I had to jab in something. So I was like, and Lord, and whatever point he was trying to make, I made it at the end. And Lord, let's just understand that, blah, 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 blah. Boom. At the end, and you saw the person I said did like this with his head down. He's like, "You're such an a-hole." I was like, I laughed. I was like, "No, we good." And then the rest of the night, he kept apologizing. Like, "I'm so sorry for arguing with you." I'm like, "Dude, it's good banter to have these back and forths, because it gets you to understand what you believe in." And then, and I said the reason, and I even told him, the reason I was fighting so hard though, is because I realized you were right. And I just want to.
You're being stubborn.
I was being stubborn. Like, no, God, he's right. I'm still holding on to my point. And so then I kind of took it away from him. I was like, oh, schematics. Clearly he was right, but no schematics.
Well, and one thing about you, and I'm grateful that I've actually learned this and dealt with this, because early on, like, we would argue a lot, but he would do it intentionally. Rohmon likes to play the devil's advocate.
You're trying to like pull things out of him.
Well, I just want him to look a different way.
Yeah. So, but he does it in a way that it doesn't feel like that's what he's doing in the moment. Instead, he's asking all these questions that makes you feel that he's on the other side. And does that make sense? Yes. So like, I don't know, say I think the sky is blue because God painted it blue. Just random example, right? But, or no.
Yeah, you paint yourself.
That's a really bad example. What would be a good example?
You'll say something to the effect of, let's use a character in the Bible, for reference. So let's say you said something like, Samson was a great soldier for the Lord. Okay. And I would ask you, was he?
Yes. That's a good example.
I was like, was he a great soldier? Because he committed suicide when he still had call to do.
Uh-huh. That's exactly what he would do. And then I'm a terrible debater. So I would try to express my point, but everything I would say, he would have a counter, like, another question or another statement. And then I would get really frustrated because like, I know what I believe, but I don't know how to express it. And I don't agree with his point, but he can express it really well. Yeah. And so, but he would always do that, and he would play the devil's advocate. But it actually helped me over the years, one, to not get offended when there are differing views, and also to not get upset if I can't express myself completely. Yeah. And it's okay, even if I can't make my point, to just be quiet because I know what I believe. Yeah. And the example and that's better than explaining it perfectly.
The other reason I do it too, I do it on purpose. I do. But the other reason I do it on purpose is because I want to see how much you believe.
Mm.
Like if I can change your mind, you didn't believe that much.
Yeah.
Or the other thing is, let's solidify your statement.
Yeah.
By attacking it and watch you defend it on all sides to solidify that this is what you believe.
Mm.
Right.
So